Hey, what's up guys? Insom here. So, I originally didn't really want to do a run with the the ninja on the or as what I was doing for the other 5 classes because it was my least favorite class to play. But like after doing a little bit of practice, getting a hang of it, using the Kunais a bit more, adjusting my builds, I've kind of like come to the conclusion that he's actually pretty viable provided you play him in a very specific playstyle. So one of the big problems that drove me away from playing the ninja to begin with was the melee-oriented playstyle. So, for those who know me coming from Darktide, I'm not a huge fan of meleeing things. I don't like being up close and personal with enemies. I prefer shooting them from afar because I'm a huge coward, or call me whatever you want. The point being that that melee in this game is also not as refined as a game like Darktide. So, and given server latency, poor hit registration, animations, pairing just simply not working as intended, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. The ninja wasn't really in a good place. That being said, the Kunais, the one particular range weapon, and of course the shurikens by extension, is one of the things that can keep the ninja going very strong for very long. So if you look at the base damage, right, per shot, right, the primary damage, which is the throwing fire, is actually pretty nice, and the rate of fire of the throws is pretty goddamn high. So if you build around a build that basically stays close to the enemies, where you can get your kunais back when you throw them, you're basically like you have practically infinite ammo and you're doing like very high DPS per hit. So this enables the ninja to play in a very aggressive game mode. Perhaps not the best if you're starting out just leveling, but once you're more used to the game, it can become very potent. So as usual, we'll be starting out with the multi-tool on Sewers, arguably the hardest map that's in the rotation right now. Probably not the hardest for the ninja, but we'll see. Right, so again, I'll be using on-perk weapons only. I will not be using the Vulcan for the ninja. I will not be using the Ifrit or any other ranged weapons, just melee weapons or the Kunai. And you'll probably just see me just sticking to the Kunai because I can't stand the melee system in this game, even on offline mode on solo play as it is right now. Sometimes, you just put yourself in a position where you take too much damage, or it's just too punishing to play. So for Kunais mainly, just make sure you land your shots, make sure your hits count. Then your hit shots. Okay, make sure you don't use up too much ammo. Right, as you can see, every time I throw something, I'm getting back almost instantly. Like, even if I miss, if I hit a wall next to it, it's still doing work. Get it out of that siren's way. Make sure my close is clear. Too annoying. You can die for me. Thank you. Okay, I will probably be abusing the Z time. If you notice on Z time, if I switch to the melee mode of the Kunai, it attacks ridiculously fast for god knows what reason. I'll try not to use the bash attack as much as I can, depending on the scenario, because the bash attack is also pretty strong on the Kunai. Like, many people spec this out and they build some stupid thing on it. That does so much damage on its own, because of the way it scales. So you can see, right, I've started at what, 32 in reserve, and I'm still at 27 without having spent a single bit of ammo. Where is the guy? Right, there we go, that's the first wave done. So given the starting kunai I have, I'll probably just go for basically my last and endgame weapon. So I just had like a basic kunai with like magnetic ammo pouch for the extra radius on pickups. And just a lightweight blade to increase my, I think it was my, what do you call it, the range attack speed. So I originally built this weapon for more melee, like bash oriented builds, but looking at it, this, even without the range mods on it, like it's all like melee masters, that time rampage, right? It's still just as good if you use it well, like in close quarters proximity. You're not gonna hit things from afar, and you're not supposed to, because if you shoot that things far away, you're not gonna get your kunais back. So basically, all of the ninja's combat is going to be within close quarters. Alright, so I have 35 in the mag. I'm gonna get armor instead. I'm gonna get a couple of multi-tools, and that's all I can afford for now. And in the meantime, I'm just going to be hunting biosteel while waiting for the next wave to progress. probably open up the shortcut also, because why not? So biosteel is really something that's short of in this game. I do wish they gave like trading resources on it. Like allows you to trade resources you had extra of with things that you have less of. Right? But you know, maybe it's too much to ask for. Hard to say. Okay, so unlike the sharpshooter and the other classes I've played, you don't need to be in a specific position because like the ninja is meant for close quarters damage, and if you use his heavy can charges or his gadget right, you're able to extricate yourself from situations where you're not supposed to be. So I'll talk more about the skills later when we get to it. Stop eating me. Okay. Nothing. There we go. Gonna break down this wall. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna set him up with a confusing effect. Can't do anything. I'm gonna stun him. I'm gonna heal. Get out here first. Okay, he's confused right now. We're gonna get him. Come back from my Kunais. So with the right mods and skills, right, you basically have quite a big radius on getting back your Kunais, so you don't really need to worry about ammo as long as you're hitting them in close proximity. Okay, just as always, just pay attention to how much ammo we have left, just in case. Especially if you're careless with your shots. What is that going for? So I don't really need to worry about cash for the most of the round. I'm going to be using the same weapon throughout the rest of the 6 waves. I should have dodged it. Some Kunais back. Let's just finish this earlier. And there we go, that's the wave. Second wave, just with Kunais. Almost no ammo expended. Can probably get a few more armor lockers. Maybe a strange bag, because I'll be taking a lot of health damage just playing as a ninja. Which is like the major one reason why I really dislike playing it at first. Having to put yourself in close range situations where you're taking on just so much damage is too punishing. I felt like it's not the playstyle that really suited me. Right, so Kunais, we are back to a healthy amount. We can get a little bit more armor. Actually, you know, just... Okay, let's get back multi-tool we have. Well, let's just stick with this. Fully replenish our ammo supply, because why not? So we have 56 Kunais to go around right now, which is pretty good. We activate this turret. Done as well, it's on cooldown, it's fine. And for the rest, I guess I'll just hold on to the rest. Okay, do you want it here? Yeah. Okay, let's just stand next to the turret for now. Push the bloat around. Back my Kunais. There he goes. Dead. Probably want to heal up here. Where is that screen? Oh, there he is. Get the confusion procs on him. Get my armor back. So let me just show you something stupid. If I just go out and melee, you just do this. Just basically shreds everything. I'm not going to abuse that as much as I can, it's a bit cheesy. Six enemies left. Of course, there's a flashbomb here. Just zap into him, stun him, get the hell out of here. Oh, that was pretty rough actually. Thank God for saving the charges on him. You can see the way I've set up my heavy can is that I don't want to spam them all off. I use this as like same thing like the oh shit button. And you have 3 charges. It's just that sometimes it can be a bit clunky, like you end up targeting something that you don't want to and flying off to a position where you don't really want to be in. But otherwise, generally quite manageable if you don't spam it off, and in close quarters scenarios, a little bit janky but still not totally unusable. So yeah, as long as you manage everything right, I think the ninja is pretty viable even with a throw only build. So yeah, and let's just try to clear the rest of the wave with no hiccups as much as we can. Shurikens are okay, this is okay, I'm all there. Alright, let's go. No mutations yet. Hopefully I don't get pounded on wave 5, it's going to become annoying for me especially. Yeah, I do want to unlock the side area, that only enemies can break down the walls, because I do want the biosteel inside. Good, we're gonna break down this wall. Good. Climb up here. This bio still there, thank you. Run out of here first. They're right here. Oh, still my execute, damn it. Surrender, I do not want to be there. Just get out of here. Back out for a little bit. Another flashbomb. 24 enemies left, it's probably the last of them. Where did you come from? There we go. That's the wave. Of course, they gave me pounded right now, as expected. Always give me the worst modifiers that I don't really want. Probably going to stock up on some explosive locks in that case. I'm not sure whether I still have my doors intact. Armor is fine, syringes are fine. Just get ammo back, why not? Oh yeah, I probably wanted syringe bags. Let's just show this all around. I guess I can probably get away with not using the explosive locks. I don't play too carelessly. Syringes are always nice. Why is my ammo not? Okay, right, there we go. So, Flash Pound with 105 of them. Mostly going to be Flash Pounds. Annoying, but I have the Confusion Affliction on my Kunais for a reason. Just to keep them distracted. Hopefully I can make some good use of that. It seems like the bonus ammo capacity is kind of buggy with the Kunais. I'm not getting back my Kunais that are above the ammo limit, which is kind of annoying. I have to make do. Get out the trash first. Just threw a bunch of Kunais into the distance. My back's covered just in case. You know what? I'm going to go up from here. The confusion up. Get to execute because why not? It's free. Stun you for the damage reduction. Kill you off. Very nice. 69 left. Still good on health and armor. I thought there was something behind me. God damn it. Kill each other, kill each other, kill each other. Kill. Sure, course is clear as always. Get the turret back up, because why not? 48 enemies left. Only use one shin so far so good. But I had to be prepared for the back-loaded wave. They usually like to throw everything at the back. Probably sometime about now you start to see like maybe 3 or 4 flash rounds show up together. That being said, on Pounded, I do think like they reduce the maximum number of enemies that can spawn. So you have more flash pounds but like lesser trash enemies all around. So it tends to be actually more manageable in the sense that you just have to be used to the mechanics. So prepare for less enemies but more flash pounds, basically that's the idea. And I think maybe what, 2, 3, 4 at most? I'm not too sure the exact count. I'm gonna go for my replenish on my Kunais. One down. Oops, failed to dodge that. Go for the zip. Nope, this is not a good place to be. I'm gonna back off the way I came. To the turret. Vignette left. Stun them in. Get out of here. 7 enemies left. Probably all the enemies on there is on the map currently. 10. Get 9. 7. 6. 5. 2 bloods and 3 flash rounds. That will be... finish you off. Okay, and now for the boss wave. So overall, pretty self-sufficient. Probably need to just be a bit more cautious about sustaining health over time. There are some health regeneration perks on the health regeneration skills on the perk that I didn't really put to good effect. But yeah, the one thing that's so fantastic about this build is that you literally don't need any other weapon. Like I can probably just get a bow because why not? Just in case I want to shoot, in case I run out of ammo on the Kunais. But this is probably all I need to just get me by for the rest of the wave. Alright, so I'm just gonna throw this down here somewhere where I can find it easily. We hopefully reset a few turrets. So I would say the worst boss I can probably get will be the Wing Crawler. Probably the most annoying. We'll see. Excuse me, sorry about that. Okay, right, let's go. Okay, good. This boss... you're gonna see some cheese that's probably off the charts. It's gonna be so funny, just killing him. Right, show your face, show your face. Where are you? Oh, hi. So you can see that he's basically targeting his own minions because he's constantly getting confusion stacks from me. Get that in for the damage reduction. Probably want to shrink up also, just in case. So he's still confused. He's attacking his own minions because of the confusion infliction on my weapon. In the meantime, I'm just going to keep laying to him. Doing plenty decent damage as it is right now. Get the heavy can for my Kunais replenishment. Almost down to second phase. There we go, second phase. Getting as much damage as we can, waiting. Since I'm here, let's get the strangers, because why not? Just be careful of the melee attacks. I don't stay within range. Make a run for it first. I let him kill his ads, I don't want to worry about those guys. Oh my god, where did you come from? Get my Kunais back. Still confused. Yep, there we go, he's confused. Excellent. Only for a short while though. Gonna kill his mobs. There we go, just keep flinging shit in his face. So as mentioned, I'm trying not to abuse the melee attack speed on the Z time because I think it's a bit stupid and broken. It's way too cheesy if you do that. It makes the game way too easy. Probably even arguably better than Vulcan for single direct damage. Okay, heavy can. Probably can finish him off for the vulnerability. Get the Strange back. There we go. Hell on Earth. Ninja Kunai with minimal melee. Okay, so I'm going to show the scoreboard, I'm going to talk about the skills, and just show that one single weapon that you pretty much need. It's not modded correctly for range damage, but honestly speaking, with how much damage you're shitting out, it really doesn't matter. So again, respectable scoreboard, more executions for the ninja obviously. Not as many kills, I'm not sure why the counter is that much lower. Maybe because Flash Hounds killed more stuff, hard to say. But yeah, headshots, 207. Plenty, you know, it's just close range and just showing the Kunai in front of you. With the fighter rate that it has and the amount of ammo that you're getting back, it's basically infinite ammo, you're able to land your headshots very consistently just by spamming. Okay, right, so let's look at the skills that we use here. You'll see that my skill tree is a total mess. Right, so starting with the passives, 50% armor. So why I took armor over health is that what I realized is the first problem with this is that perfect parries in this game are so janky to perform with the animations and hit registrations. Furthermore, right, if you're playing in co-op, right, health is going to come back easily. Armor, however, is not. And per my line of reasoning is that per value of armor that you get, right, it's more durability compared to health. Like, and health, right, if you're playing with a good medic, you know, you're going to get it back over time. Armor, on the other hand, is not going to come easy. So in my experience playing with 6-man co-ops, right, whenever I play with armor over health, the people who use the health build, they probably usually run out of armor first, and then they find themselves dying very easily. Whereas when I play with armor, I don't run out of armor by the end of the round. I'm still left with like maybe 30 or 40, even on 6-man Hell on Earth. So that allows me to sustain for the longer term, and it puts me at less risk of dying because as long as you have just a few points of armor, you get the 30% damage resistance from max out purple armor. Right, so that's the reasoning why I went for this over the perfect parry. Right, so then for level 8, for range build, this is a clear option. Even for melee, I think this will be the clear option as well. It's just 20% from critical hits on the hate spots. And then this is, you know, probably not too bad either, but given that, you know, you want to be having this working all the time, this doesn't just apply to melees, it also applies to every single other weapon. So once again, I think this is the stronger contender. Right? It's non-conditional, it doesn't rely on card, it doesn't rely on you doing melee weapon damage. Right? And again, perfect parry for the same reasons as above. So it could have been so good if, you know, the animations were better, but yeah, at this point in time, no. It's not going to cut it. So just go for this, fairly unconditional, other than just landing your headshots, which is what you're supposed to do in Killing Floor anyway. Level 14, alright, so this is the one originally where I was taking this, but then because you're running a range build, right, you want the main benefit of this skill is the one that doesn't increase with upgrading is the auto pickup radius. So you'll see on my weapon later, I'm running the magnetic ammo pouches. You're basically going to increase your pickup radius. So you don't need to worry about, you know, shooting your shurikens or your kunais too far if you're playing in a closed indoor map environment. Okay, so you can level it up, but I think there's probably a bug in the sense that I'm not getting back the shurikens above the maximum ammo capacity that this grants. So you can just pick this and just not upgrade it. It really doesn't matter. The main thing is the auto pickup radius. Right, so otherwise this is for regular melee gameplay. If you're using your katanas or your what do you call it, the kiba, you can use this, and I think generally both of them are good skills in their own right. So it's just that one is better than the other if you're doing a range build. And then there's this, right? So Stumble Affliction. You notice that at certain points in time when I was throwing the kunai enemies in the game, they were basically falling down, even the flash pounds and the Skriks. So given the fire rate that you're going to get from this ability, right, the amount of stumble you're going to be doing is quite humongous. You can probably level this up, but I do feel it's kind of optional. There are better things that you want to spend your proficiency points on. Right, so Stumble is nice. And same problem once again, perfect parry. Yeah, you know the rest of. So for level 26, right, clearly range cut damage is the way to go for a range build. You can go for this, which gives you health, like a bit of health over time, or this one, which, like, if you're going a pure melee build. But honestly speaking, the health gain for all of this when you're playing, especially on 6-man Hell on Earth, is pretty marginal. Like, you have to be playing so cautiously. Like, to do this and have this work out in close quarters combat, you really have to be landing all your perfect parries well, which is really annoying in the current game state. So, personally, I would not recommend playing a melee-based ninja. I would recommend playing a kunai throwing-based ninja, right? And you can like even abuse the Z time melee attack speed, but as you saw, I didn't. I just used range build all the way and it worked out fine. So personally, I'll just increase this a bit more, and probably for better sustain, I will try to swap in occasionally to my melee and get the melee kills for the healing. Right, so I do need to practice that a little bit more on my end. Alright, so yeah, this is the same as this, like both of them basically increase bleeding damage. Well, I guess honestly this isn't too bad either, in the sense that it works on all weapons regardless, as what it implies. It doesn't seem to put any limitations on whether it's melee or range. You can probably get this to work for you as well, it's just that the healing is once again very marginal. Personally, I do think like the boosting the range cut weapon damage directly on the shurikens is the way to go if you want to just burst down your heavy enemies. Right, but as you saw, even without the bonuses, like even without this upgraded, I'm fully capable of holding my own ground on Hell on Earth. Right, or at least in solo play. Okay, so moving on to the throwables. Once again, my lowest priority on the list because of how much the grenades cost. And I think throughout the whole round earlier, I never once dropped this, which is kind of a mistake. Alright, so anyway, 200 flat force damage, maybe upgraded to 400 at best. Okay, I guess, but I personally prefer the self-damage because many of the times if you're playing a ninja, your grenades are going to be thrown at your feet because you're always in close quarters combat. So, not, killing yourself from your grenades is really nice, and being able to stun everything around you is also probably the utility that you're going to seek out of throwing your caltrops. Right. Lifetime increase to 10 seconds, kind of meh, because once again, if you're throwing it right into a horde of enemies at your feet, it's going to detonate immediately. Unless you're using it to hold off a position defensively, I probably wouldn't take this. So in any case, I just took this just for the self-damage removal, and you don't need to upgrade it. This, honestly, the rest doesn't really matter. Right, level 16, increased number of caltrops, decreased explosion radius. Personally, I do feel that, given how costly they are, you don't need more caltrops, you just want a bigger explosion radius. So yeah, and again, really up to you, no rights or wrongs here. And then lastly, for level 28, increased damage to enemies they're stuck to, shock enemies to 40% longer. I personally like this. Some people like this instead, at the cost of having that annoying UI effect that just adds so much more visual clutter to the game already as it is. It's as if we don't have enough visual clutter already. Alright, so again, no rights, no wrongs. I just like to be able to keep them stunned for that initial duration so I can like kite my way or run around them. Right, so electricity damage is basically the ninja's favorite in this scenario. So again, lowest priority for all of this. If you're playing a build, focus on things like your armor, increased weapon damage, probably this as well if you're doing range damage. And then for your gadgets, right, for level 6, you have this that increases your damage, you have this that increases the shockwave radius, and then this basically repairs armor. So once again, for the same reasons of sustain and Hell on Earth, getting armor back during a wave just from your skills alone is pretty king. Like, you're able to sustain, keep your armor up purely just by using a heavy can conservatively and only when you need it. So going by this line of reasoning, right, this level 12 perk in particular requires you to basically expand all your heavy can charges to deal more weapon damage. The problem with this is that, your heavy can, I feel, the way it's out to be used is not, like, you don't spam it all off and then like try to do reduce weapon damage when it's off cooldown. It's actually kind of annoying, like to do this, and especially if you're running with a medic who's reducing your cooldown, or you have the mutations like slice and dice and pounded where they reduce the gadget regeneration time. Having to maintain this is kind of annoying, and it basically like compels you to use your heavy can when you don't want to, and that can sometimes put you in a very bad position. Like sometimes the heavy can just goes right through enemies. puts you in the center of them, and you can't escape from them because now you're stuck in the middle of all of them. So I don't personally recommend this despite having leveled it. I do think that this will have much more utility in the long run. Movement speed in the game like Killing Floor is definitely king to have, and 30% movement speed is at max out is nothing to scoff at. So yeah, I would personally drop this and go for this instead with the range, especially with the range playstyle. Right, so Strike Thrice, Blood Hunt, and Red Shadow for level 18. Again, for defensive purposes, I do feel that the ninja at this point in time is so strong on offense that you don't need more damage. You could make an argument for doing this that heals you. I guess it's not too bad either. Personally, I went for more damage reduction so I can tank bosses a little bit more because I don't really struggle with using my strangers throughout a wave. Maybe on Hell on Earth 6 player without a dedicated healer, this will probably be better. But you have to micromanage this and handle this very well to make the most out of it. Right? But you can, in principle, with this tool, like regenerate your health and armor and have a very high uptime on sustain. Right, level 24. Perfect parry, same problem as always. This is exactly the same as a sharpshooter. We don't know what range you're doing it, and for this case, like the perfect parry is so jank that, and furthermore, like your heavy can is on such a short cooldown as it is already. You don't need that additional regeneration energy. So I just went full partial damage radius and basically more damage when you go through all of them to ensure you lock down your kills and you do your chip damage to your medium and heavy Zeds. Right? Again, you probably don't have to level this up. Really up to you. If you feel this is better for you, if you can land off the perfect parries consistently, sure, why not? I mean, of course, that will apply for this and this as well. Yeah. Right. Lastly, level 30. Increasing your Hurricane finisher damage. Taking damage reduces half health, refreshes all charges, allowing you to spam it off. Kind of like, you take damage, you do more of it. Not something I would recommend building around. And then the last one is, increasing vulnerability is basically just resistance decrease. Right, and I do feel this has the most value out of it all, and especially if you use it on bosses, it basically boosts your damage all around, which is mainly going to be cut and electric damage if you're running with the katanas. So I do feel that this is the strongest pick in the tree. Right, so before we go off to the armory, I just want to do a quick display of something that I learned off Reddit. Someone mentioned that, stamina is actually a thing in this game when you try to do your parries. It's just that you don't get to see it without your crosshairs on, which is really kind of silly considering how Tripwire designed this game. So if you see now, you can see there's a central bar there, that 2 bars on the side, and if I swap to something like, let's say, the katanas, see that? Sorry, that's a charge attack counter. As for parries, yeah, if you hold out a block, you can see like a white bar there. I'm guessing that's the stamina bar you have there. This is the charge attack meter. So it's really kind of odd, because I don't know why they tied this to the crosshair. Is it an oversight or something? They should have just made this visible on the UI, especially considering the melee style they're going for. So anyway, yeah, there's just a little bit of tidbit for you to know more about. It's in the grand scheme of things, if you're not playing your melee builds, it really doesn't matter. I can do this with this as well. And oh yeah, perfect parry apparently doesn't work with the Kunais either, so yeah, you're just going full range at this point in time, or melee spam during that time. Alright, so last thing will be the armory, and I invested practically no resources into the tier 3 and tier 4. Tier 1 was there originally just to try it out a little bit. One thing I really hate about the keybar on Hell on Earth is that when you use it and you chop up enemies, sometimes, especially for the clots and the cysts, you leave their torso on the ground and they're not dead. And the issue with the same problem with live crawlers and dead crawlers is that it's very hard to discern live and dead enemies from the corpses that are on the ground. And sometimes those crawlers and cysts are basically chewing at your feet and doing full damage while they're at it, which is super annoying. And if you're not looking down, you won't really notice them. So again, it's just yet another reason not to use melee-oriented builds. So for this reason, basically we're going to go with Kunais, and I have one Kunai just set up for the initial operational budget at 3000 plus. Honestly, I think the key one to have is just the magnetic ammo pouch. It just gives you a larger pickup radius. The bonus ability is whatever, doesn't matter. Lightweight blade just for more attack speed on range and projectile speed. That's nice to have. And then for the other Kunai, which I did not optimize for range attacks, this was originally meant for a bash build, melee build. It's just 3 melee masters, Z time rampage for the additional melee during Z time rampage, and critical exposure and magnetic ammo pouch. I think the key ones you want to go for is something like the Confusion Venom. So as you saw, if you just have this max out at 100 Confusion Affliction at purple tier, you're just basically spamming to like your Flash Bounce, Scrakes, even the bosses, and they can get confused and start attacking their other enemies instead. This should work on Impalers also, especially if you're playing a multiplayer when there's 3 of them. I'm not sure whether the Queen Crawler will start attacking her ads. I have not seen her do that, so it's probably the most useless on her. But as you also saw on the Chimera, it also works on him as well. And then for the grip and whatever the rest is, you can go full damage. Honestly, maybe not this. Maybe you want to go for the lightweight blades instead for this, because this is again for melee damage, not for lightweight for your throwing damage. So I'll probably swap this out in the long run. The Pommel Ring, also good for damage as well. So one thing you just note is that the accuracy is kind of bad with all these mods, but it's still workable as long as you're playing in close range. And for the most part, you should be playing in close range when you're using the Kunais, because your ammo economy is not going to keep up if you don't, if you shoot them where you can't pick them up. And lastly, of course, we have the magnetic ammo pouch once again. Again, bonus ability is whatever, but basically that is the one and only build that I would build right now for Ninja that I would find sustainable, given that you can match into any high ping, high latency server right now, and it's perfectly viable on solo Hell on Earth. I have yet to test this in 6-player Hell on Earth. But you know, if all else fails, you can just go and use the goddamn Falcon on Berserker, or sorry, the Ninja. Really, there's no one stopping you from doing it as long as you're pulling your weight. Alright, so that will be the very last of my series on each class on solo Hell on Earth and the explanation on the skill trees and the armory. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something in the process. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Yeah, otherwise, this will be Insom signing off.